Welcome to Secrets to Alignment with Savannah Schaffer. I am here to equip you with the belief and energy to make your dreams a reality. Take this time to fill your cup and align with the most vibrant version of you. Welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaffer. I am so grateful to be here today. Happy Monday. I hope that you guys have had a great weekend and you guys have been enjoying all of these weekly episodes. I've been loving every single moment of filming these, producing these, editing them, everything, getting them out to you guys because I just feel so strongly that this is exactly where I'm meant to be. And I just love that you guys are loving them so much. So thank you for being here. And today's podcast is actually a little different than what I've done in the past. I am typically here sharing my tips, my tricks, my realizations, my advice, all of these different things that I am going through and experiencing and learning. And today I really wanted to switch some things up. I want to be very, very honest and super real with some of the things that I have maybe shared a little bit of, but not gone into detail, and some things that I've actually never shared with you before because they're just things that I have been working through or going through or growing through. And I'm finally at a place now where I just want to be so real, so transparent, and so honest about what I have gone through or am going through so that it can support you in your journey. I have found that with all of the different people that I love to listen to, something that I feel like hits me the most is when those people are sharing the moments in time that they kind of keep behind closed doors, that they deal with on their own or only within their like close family or friends. And I am somebody who I love to share. I love to be very, very open and real and honest because I never want anyone who's listening to my podcast to put me on some kind of pedestal, for someone to think, oh, Savannah's like got it all together, or she's at this certain place in her growth journey or whatever. Like, truly, I am on the ground with you. I am going through just as many emotional waves as you are right now. Yes, I maybe have learned some tools and things to do whenever I go through those moments, but I want you to know again that I am no different than you are. I have had so many failures. I've gone through many setbacks, and I am just doing my freaking best. I'm going through the same things that you are right now. I'm just sharing them on a freaking podcast in hopes that it's going to support you in some way. And the challenges that I've experienced, I've gone through so many different things, so many different experiences and whatever, but I've gone through mental ups and downs. I've gone through physical challenges of myself. I've gone through a lot of different insecurities, a lot of confronting experiences in my life. And again, I just want you to know that you're not alone throughout all of this. And if right now you're going through some really big shifts and changes in your life, I feel like a lot of my friends are currently right now. I feel like the energy recently has just been a lot of things kind of boiling up to the surface and just now figuring out how to handle it and how to move on from here and how to go in the right direction. And I just want you to know that I get it. I've been there. I'm there with you right now. And I just hope that you can take something away from this podcast episode. So let's jump into all of the things that I've never really shared. So diving right in, something that came up for me actually just this past weekend. So this past weekend, I went out to go see Aria's godfather, Alec. He is like my older brother at this point. I love him so much. He was DJing this weekend at a place. He like randomly got this booking. Tyler was at work, and I actually had invited my sister to come with me because my sister's birthday is coming up this week. And I was like, hey, you should come with me and join me, go to this DJ thing with me and go see the show. And she ended up having plans. So I decided to go by myself. And your girl had such a freaking good time, guys. Like I I go so hard, especially when I'm alone. I'm like, I am turning up. I just feel so free. I feel so just authentic and like fully myself. And I was just in such a good vibe, like the best energy. I had such a good time. And this night, I felt like when I was driving there, I had this feeling of like, I feel like I'm supposed to be going here. Like, I feel like I'm going to learn something from today, or something's going to happen. Like something is in the air. Like I just had this sense, and it was on my way driving there that I was like, I just feel it. I don't know. And I feel like that night was actually really, really special in my growth journey, because it really allowed me to confront this fear of being seen, this fear of being fully exposed or being my most authentic self. And some thoughts were coming up during it. I remember I ended up seeing two people that I actually know personally. They ended up like seeing me and whatever. And I started to notice instantly that my energy had a little shift and change in it. And I had to make this conscious decision that even though I now know people, besides Alec, of course, even though I now know people that are here, I'm going to choose to continue to show up and just be doing exactly what I was doing the entire time, living my best life, like dancing like crazy. I was like the only person, not the only, I didn't really look around too much, but I was one of the only people who were like really dancing and like getting into the music and just being so fully present. I was also one of the first people who walked in the doors of this venue. So I was just vibing. I was vibing on my own. And then once I saw these two people that I knew, I instantly started to notice like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna just choose to be myself and just choose to continue to go hard, continue to just dance and like have the best time. But I noticed that when I left, I definitely was like in my head thinking, oh my gosh, what did those people think, or whatever. I started to just get into my head and start to question myself and just like wonder like, okay, why is this coming up? And these fears started to arise, or these thoughts, this paranoia started to kind of come up for me. And I was like, I had such a good time. Like, what are these thoughts that are all of a sudden coming up? And what I ended up connecting it to was actually something that happened to me in middle school. And I've shared a little bit about this story, but I haven't really got like that far into it. In middle school, I ended up having some people in my grade constantly bully me for the way that I looked, and specifically my nose. I've broken my nose a few times in my life, and I used to have this big bump. It's actually the reason why I ended up getting a nose job at 17, because I had so many people making fun of me all the time about it. And this was one of my biggest insecurities, and I don't think I actually realized how much it weighed on me until this weekend, because I reflected on it and kind of connected some dots, and I was like, wow, like that same feeling that I was feeling on Saturday night or Friday night or whatever it was is exactly what I felt when I was in middle school. And I had this sense of paranoia that people were talking about me. And I remember being so traumatized by like what my nose looked like, to the point where I would literally ask teachers to sit in the back of the classroom. I would ask to face the classroom so that no one could see my profile. I remember walking through the school hallways thinking like, oh my gosh, people are going to be looking at me. People are going to be staring at my nose. I did so much to avoid people seeing my profile for so many years, and it built up so much insecurity within me. And at this time point, I had people, the reason why I was so insecure about it was because people were literally zooming in on my nose in class and making Instagram pages specifically called Savannah's Nose. I remember this one time, I was probably in 6th grade, 7th grade, and I got a follow from an account, or someone sent me the account or whatever. Somehow I found this Instagram account, and the profile photo was legit a photo of just my nose, just zoomed in on my nose. And I just remember being so embarrassed, so emotional. I was such a wreck about just the fact that like people were bullying me that bad. And yes, it might not sound that bad to like someone else, whatever, but like take this into consideration. Like, what if someone was just like zooming in on your body and was like, oh my gosh, like that girl gained so much weight over the winter break, or like whatever. Anything that you have like an insecurity about, imagine someone making an Instagram page specifically dedicated to that. Yeah, like it was, it was not kind. It was really unkind of them. But I went through this, and it created a lot of emotional kind of turmoil in me, and me thinking that I'm never going to be pretty enough, I'm never going to be good enough, and it ruined my confidence in a lot of ways. And I did a lot of things to avoid people seeing my nose, or I'd control what I could control, like how my hair looked, what my outfits were, who I talked to, all of the things, because I didn't want to be around anyone who could potentially talk about my nose. It really controlled a really large part of my life until I ended up getting a nose job in 11th grade. I got a nose job when I was 17, and doing that was like the best thing that I could have done for my confidence. But in that time frame, it was really, really challenging for me. And I didn't actually notice what a connection that it was still playing in my life, because that subconscious belief of I'm not pretty enough, or me being fully exposed, or people talking about me, all of those beliefs were still really deep inside me. Like, I didn't know that they were really there until they were brought up to the surface again this weekend. And because I'm so hyper aware of what I'm experiencing, I had the connection that was made of, okay, when else have I experienced this? And went back to my childhood, of course, because that's where it always comes from. But it's just really, really wild. So this weekend was kind of like a trigger in a way. And I share this because I want you to notice that whenever you're starting to feel out of balance with yourself, whenever you're feeling dysregulated with yourself, whenever you start to notice that energy shift, and it takes a lot of time and skill and awareness to start to notice these little things. But when you do, you can actually start doing something about it, and you can utilize your tools, and you can sit there and you can try to process. And I did, and it helped me so much with letting go of this. But even now, as I'm speaking about it, I'm like sweating, because I can still feel those feelings, and that trauma was just there. It's been there for so many years, and now I'm slowly learning how to release it and let go of it, and know that although that was my past, it doesn't have to be my present experience. And I know for sure that this weekend served a really beautiful lesson for me to fully embrace who I am and know that I am so freaking beautiful. No matter what I look like, I am such a beautiful individual soul, and it takes a lot of work to get to that point. This is just something that I noticed was still holding on to me, and I had a little bit of self-judgment towards. And I just want you to know that you're going to continue to experience those same patterns and those same feelings until you choose to face them and connect the dots and fully release them. And it takes time, and it takes repetition, of course. And I'm sure that there's going to be another time in my life where I experience these same feelings. But the more that I can take power away from those experiences that happened to me when I was younger, and give myself the love and the acknowledgement and the appreciation that I actually needed at that time and point when I was 13 years old, it allows me to just care for that version of myself in a totally different way. It allows me to really heal that version of myself who needed that support and needed that love and needed that guidance and needed to just be looked in the eyes and say, Savannah, you're completely beautiful no matter what your nose looks like, no matter what all these kids are saying. I just needed that support. So I gave that to myself today, and I know that that's not going to be something that I will deal with in the future. Now, something else that I've shared a little bit about, but haven't gone into full details of, was the last business that I built. So the last business that I built, I was in for 4 years. I was in this company from 2018 to 2022. From the ages of 17 to 21. Yes, from 17 to 21, I was with this one specific company. And within my time there, I learned so much. It gave me all of the knowledge that I have today about social media and marketing and branding and all of the things. I loved it so much. But during this time period, I also picked up on a lot of habits and thought patterns that actually weren't very beneficial for me. And this company I had massive success with. But I also had some failures with as well. Like any business that you start, you're not always just going to be on this constant up and up journey. You're going to have times where things unexpectedly happen, where you lose your entire team, or you take a massive dip in your income, or your levels that you've been used to are no longer the same. And this business that I had built, I definitely had some super high highs and some super low lows. And the more that I have been kind of removed from it, I've realized what an impact that these things actually made on my mental space, and especially on my worthiness. I noticed that there was a part of me that was chasing this status that was within this company, or chasing the numbers, or chasing the material things. And as amazing as those things are, and I still, of course, have goals and ambitions within numbers and materials and things like that, of course, I have those, but my worthiness is not dependent on the numbers in my bank account, the status of what my business looks like, and all of those things. Those things are completely separate. And at one point in time, they were so intertwined that the success that I was having in my business was directly related to the mental space that I was in. If I was having a bad month in business, I was having a bad month emotionally, mentally. I felt all over the place. I didn't feel like I had my shit together because my business wasn't thriving. And it was this really negative and toxic, honestly, relationship that I had with my business. I was into like a total hustle mindset. I was working 12-hour days every single day. I remember even scheduling like date nights with Tyler, and he would get so upset because I'd come to dinner late because I was just like sitting there working on my business, working from my phone, like trying to make more connections, trying to chase the numbers, trying to place more orders, like just trying to constantly chase after things. And it's just so crazy to look back on now. And I'm very appreciative of that time in my life where I did have my nose down and I was grinding and I did push through and all of those things. Again, I learned so much. I had so many amazing realizations and moments and experiences because of the work that I did back then. But I've had to now unlearn a lot. And it's been a beautiful journey in doing so. But what I can say is that throughout that time, I did have a lot of setbacks. I did have a lot of failures. I had a lot of experiences in that time period where I felt like I wasn't doing good enough. I felt like every single time that I was trying so hard, it wasn't getting me anywhere. I felt like I was putting in all of this work, all of this effort, and I wasn't seeing anything change. And what I learned from that was that I actually just wasn't where I needed to be. I wasn't doing the work that I was supposed to be doing. I was making this impact in numbers, in income, but I wasn't actually making an impact in people's lives in the way that I truly wanted to do. So all this to say that throughout all of those challenges, I remember the last year that I was with that company, my checks were so stagnant. I was constantly comparing myself to other people's businesses. I was getting so in my head, so wrapped up in the opinions of others. I was just in a space that I've never really been. And throughout all of that time, it was just the universe's way of redirecting me to my purpose, to where I'm actually supposed to be, the impact that I'm supposed to make through this podcast, through the business that I now have and now own. And it just was all to lead me to here. And now I can look back on those things and be very grateful that they happened and not hold resentment or frustration towards them, because I recognize that when I was in the depths, when I was in the trenches of me, like I remember driving to the gym some mornings and just being like, wow, like how am I in this position? I've worked so hard and I'm sitting here with a business that's failing and in a place that I haven't really seen change in a few months from now or years. I just remember feeling like a failure and I couldn't understand it. I even thinking of this, I get emotional because I just remember being so confused and on my way to the gym, nearly crying. Like, how am I in this position right now? And now when I look back on that, I just think, damn, I wish that someone was just there to just tell me everything is working out, my love. No matter what you're experiencing right now, I promise you, you are going to be in a completely different space in a couple years from now. And seeing where I'm at now, this was like the same summer that I ended up meeting Tyler, which, oh, goodness. Now I'm like even more emotional because damn, like I literally wouldn't have been in this space. So many things wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in that place where I was currently at in my business. And it led me to being such a strong person and such a amazing human being and prioritizing so many different things in my life that I never would have. It made me just start reading more and start working out more and taking my personal development to a whole new level. Like I learned so much through that time period, but nobody knew that through all of the smiles that I was giving, I was actually in a lot of emotional turmoil internally, and just questioning and doubting and not understanding and wanting clarity and wanting guidance. And it was a really hard time for me. So if you're in that right now, I'm here for you. I want you to know that I promise things are going to turn around. I promise things are going to shift and they're going to continue to change. And you just have to sit there and you have to control what you can control, and know that that's all you can do. And the universe has got you, and you're going to be okay. And these challenges are going to serve you in a beautiful way that you've never truly even imagined. So keep your head high, even when it's freaking hard, because you will thank yourself. I promise. Something else that I've noticed throughout my journey of this life is all of the different relationships, friendships that have just come and gone in my lifetime. And this is something that I do see as little setbacks or little redirections, if you will. I've noticed that the universe has allowed a lot of relationships to kind of fall away, to welcome in beautiful relationships that are really there to nourish and to support me in a beautiful way. But going through the grief of losing best friends, people who you thought were going to be with you in your 80s, people that I imagined like being at my wedding, being there during all of my experiences with my children, like, the relationships and the friendships that I've had to slowly say goodbye to have been some of the hardest times in my life, some of the biggest challenges of my life. And I've learned so much through them, but it doesn't mean that they weren't hard. It doesn't mean that I didn't sit there and cry over it. It doesn't mean that I didn't sit there and hold myself back from texting them or reaching out or pouring more into these people who really didn't deserve my love and attention. And this has been really some of the biggest learning lessons that I've ever had to go through and experience. Again, some of the people that I really did think were going to be with me for my entire life have somehow dwindled away and just become people who I used to know. And this is something that I know that us as women, we all experience. We all have those friends that we really do think are ride or dies for our entire lives. And this is still something that I'm working through. I can hear it as I speak right now. My throat is almost like closing because I can feel that discomfort. That's one way that I know that something's just not sitting right with me. I've gotten very in tune with my body and the way that I'm communicating, that I just simply know when there's still more processing left for me there to do. And with this specifically with friendships and things, I know that this is still something that I'm working on and I'm working through. And there's been some people who have left my life in the last few years, in the last year, that I still need to do some inner work with. And I'm actively doing that. But just know that like friendships, they come and go. It's not always easy. It won't be easy, truly. Like, it's so hard to understand, why are those people that we thought were going to be there forever not there anymore? Why are the people who I've had the deepest conversations with not there anymore? But what I've learned through my own experience, what I've learned through even Tyler's experience, my best friend's experiences, my mom's experiences, anyone around me, is that people will serve a beautiful season in your life. They will be there for specific moments in your life, and then they're not, and it's okay. And letting go and knowing that when you do let go of maybe relationships that are not reciprocated as well, or they're not as supportive, when you let go of those people who are just not giving you what you need and are not returning the energy that you're giving to them, when you let go of those people, you welcome in space for people who truly love and support you and will be there for you every single moment that you need them. And that is something that you can trust in. You can trust that the universe is always organizing new people to come into your life, new relationships to blossom and grow. And they could be waiting right around the corner. They could be waiting on the next time that you go to Starbucks. They could be waiting at the next coffee shop that you go to. They could be waiting at the gym right next to you, squatting at the squat rack. Like, you have no idea who is there and who is coming into your life next. So just know that it is okay to let go. It is okay to go through the grief that you will when losing a best friend or someone who you truly care for. You're going to experience that. but it's going to be so powerful on the other side because you're going to welcome in so much beauty and so many people who truly love and care for you in a way that you've never experienced. This is exactly why I value my community, Tranquil Minds, so much, because I feel like I've brought together women who are also going through experiences like this, who are going through business up and downs, who are going through friendship up and downs, who are going through relationship up and downs, and just having a community where we can all go to and just like be there to support each other and give each other the acknowledgement and the appreciation and celebrating each other's wins and successes, and also being there when we just are in the trenches. Having a community like that is just so powerful. I'm always sharing my biggest life lessons in that community, and the resources and the way that I handle things and the journal prompts and like everything that I go through. I'm always sharing so closely with the girls in there because a lot of them are on very similar journeys to me too. They're always going through things. They're very hyper aware of what they're experiencing. They're finding clarity within it. They're going through a lot of growth periods, and just having that container where we can all come together is so powerful. Now, you guys see the business that I have right now, and you may look at me right now and think, oh my gosh, Savannah has her podcast. She's got her Instagram. She's got her TikTok. She's like showing up in all these different ways, and everything looks like it's going amazing for her. And things are going really, really great. But I will say that I definitely still have challenges, 100%. I absolutely have times where I launch programs and I have nobody interested. And I sit there and I'm like, I put so much work into this. What is happening? I sit there and I question things. I sit there and I'm like, what's my next move? I absolutely go through so much in my own business experience now. Even though I'm 6 years into it, I'm still learning and growing and changing and evolving in my business every single month, every single quarter, every single year. So again, do not think that just because I'm sitting here and I'm sharing it with you guys, that I'm not also experiencing so many things. Like the things that I'm sharing to you guys in my podcast, where I'm like, trust in the universe, trust that everything is going your way. All of these things that I'm just like, I'm always pouring into you guys. These are all the things that I am constantly telling myself. And honestly, this is why the podcast has been so healing, even for me, because I am almost changing my own subconscious. I'm almost changing my own belief systems by cementing them into this podcast and sharing them with you guys, because I am going through such similar experiences and I am learning the exact same things that you guys are learning right now. So just know that as I share these things, I may be experiencing them too. I may be sharing them from experiences that I've had in the past. I may be experiencing them during that moment in time right now. You guys never know, but just know that I'm always there with you. I am going through the challenges. I am going through those moments. I am having the emotional waves. I'm going through the ups and downs, baby. I am on the roller coaster ride with you. I'm just choosing to face my things. I'm choosing to do something about them. I'm choosing that these things are going to be a part of my past. They're not going to live in my future. And I think that this is one of the most powerful things that I can say is throughout all of these things that I've shared here today, one thing that I know that I'm good at, and I wish that so many more people would get a handle on or would try to put some more effort towards, is just facing the things that feel really hard to face. When you feel yourself rejecting or not wanting to look at certain things within yourself, know that those things can be the things that actually set you free, and that you're not repeating those same cycles. You're not in those same patterns when you can really get a handle on them. But the first thing that you have to do is look at them, stare at them like directly, and decide that these are the things that you're going to work on. You're going to utilize your tools, your resources to get onto the other side and continuously learn, grow, and evolve. And when you make that commitment and you actually show up and you do the work as in you're sitting there in the mirror and you're fucking crying and you've got so much that you're letting go of and you're releasing all of the things, like that is the work. And that's the work that so many of us shy away from. But when you do that, you set yourself free. and you support yourself in a way that you actually learn from your experiences. You're not wrapped up in them. You actually get through your experiences and you're not continuously repeating them. This is honestly what's helped me the most, and it's the reason why I can be a victor instead of a victim. You get to choose whether you're a victim to all the circumstances. I could say right now that all of these people in middle school, all of the people in my last business, all of these people that have not done X, Y, and Z have been the reason why I've gone through all of this shit. But the reality is I have control over my own experience, and so do you. You have the opportunity to take responsibility for the things that have happened to you and decide that you're not going to allow those things to hold you back. You're going to actually step forward and decide to learn from them, to grow from them, and then continue to do that every single time that you notice that you are not in alignment with your highest and best self. It's a conscious choice that you have to make, and I have made that over and over and over again. I choose to make that every single day, and that is the reason why I can be here and even share these things with you, because they're not things that I feel so held back by anymore. They're things that I've really worked through and grown from, and I now want to share with others because I know that you guys could be potentially going through them too. I just never want you guys to look at me any different than you. I am always going through very similar experiences. I have my highs and lows the same way that you do. I have my weeks where I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything. I have excuses going through my head. But again, I just make the choice to show up as my best self, as best as I can. And sometimes my best is amazing and thriving and all these things. And sometimes my best is just doing the bare minimum. So choose to show up as your best every single day. You're going to thank yourself. And yeah, wow. I feel like this was very vulnerable and very open of me and very honest of me to share all of this. I hope that it has resonated with you. I hope that you have taken anything from this. And if there's anything that I mentioned in here that you guys would like me to go into more depth in, or that you've also had a similar experience with, please share it with me. Like, I love hearing what you guys are taking from these podcasts. I love when you guys are leaving me reviews. I've been reading through all of those, and I thank you so much for the reviews on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Thank you for following. Thank you for downloading. Like, seriously, just know that everything that you guys are doing really means so much to me, and I'm just so appreciative to even have this platform. Please share this with somebody who you know would grow and change from it. I will talk to you guys next Monday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.